I'm Hank, and it's time to talk equipment. This is video 8 of the 16 video series, and I wanted to run down some equipment options that you might be able to use. Let me pull up the screen. I'm going to just go on a low budget, and then a medium budget, and then a higher budget. So you'll have lots of choices and options. So first up here, we see the Samson Q2U. The reason why I often suggest this microphone is because it is both XLR and USB, as you'll see down here. So you can hook this straight up to your computer, and then down the road, you want to expand your setup. You can go ahead and expand it and connect it via the XLR port down below. The next microphone in this lower tier would be the Audio-Technica AT2005. This is a great microphone. It's the three microphones I'm going to suggest are pretty similar, pretty much the same microphone, with just slight characteristic difference, whether they're physical or in some cases possibly audible. But this one has a nice flat switch on it, which I do prefer. I like the look of this microphone better than the ATR 2100 or the Samson Q2U. The third microphone I often suggest that's both XLR and USB is the Audio-Technica ATR 2100X. But as you see, the prices kind of go up, up, up. So we start at $69.99. Sometimes you'll catch this on sale for $59 on various sites, the Samson Q2U. And then I never see the AT2005 on sale, typically $79 US. And then you have the Audio-Technica 2100X, which is the newer version of the 2100, and it is $99, but you won't need an audio interface. Now, obviously, you're going to need something to put the microphone on. They come with these little dinky stands that sit like 4 or 5 inches off the desk. Not really helpful. So you could get a microphone stand, and especially if you're just using a handheld microphone, you could get away with this on stage. It's about $17 on Amazon at the time of this recording. It'll handle lightweight microphones like that very easily. The next step up in a desktop microphone stand would be this Gator Frameworks stand, and it is really nice. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, would hold a microphone up to about 5 pounds, which would pretty much guarantee you could use it with any microphone out there. It's a nice stand. At the time of this recording, it's about $40. So you say you wanted to do a boom arm, but you just don't want to spend a lot. You could go cheap and get this Neewer adjustable boom arm. I sent this one to a co-host on TPE Network, and it is, right at this time, it's $11. But when I bought it for my co-host John, it was $15. So it's really not that expensive, but you can't put a heavy microphone on it. You can put all these handheld microphones or lightweight microphones on it, but you're not going to put a Shure SM7B on this thing and have good results. Next is the Rode PSA-1, and I think this is a fine stand. It's very durable, and it will maintain the position wherever you put it. But what I don't like about it is around where you see these little Velcro spots at. That's where you put the XLR microphone cable. You would just run that there. Or if you were USB only, you could just run the USB cable through those. I don't like that. I don't want people to see the wire running along the top or side of my boom arm. So it's just not a good look on stream for me. A lot of people do it. A lot of people buy this. It's a great stand if you want function over look, but that's just me. That's about $99 if you want that one. This is my dream boom. I have the Blue Compass right now, but this is the next boom I'm going to get, is this Gator Frameworks professional broadcast boom. It has a little USB cable here that you plug into the computer, and it lights up this area right up here. So it's like almost like an on-air recording little light. I believe it goes red, and it looks kind of cool. It comes with a cable, which I wouldn't use. I'm sure it's a fine cable, but I am a cable snob, so I would probably just give that to a co-host or pack it away in a case of an emergency. But it's $200, so it's nothing cheap on that. Ultimately, you're going to have headphones. I usually don't recommend anything just because people almost always just use earbuds or whatever headphones they have lying around the house. They don't want to invest in headphones. But if you're on the upper tier of a budget, you could go ahead and get, these are the ones I have. Well, not exactly the ones I have, but I'll explain that in just a minute. But these are the Behringer Dynamic DT770 Pro. And on the website on Amazon right now, they have 32 ohm, 80 ohm, 250 ohm. I have the limited edition 16 ohm, and I love them. And they have different cushions than these. It's not the, I'll see if I can find the gray. It's not the gray. Mine are black. And I absolutely love these headphones. It helps me produce the podcast so much better because I'm hearing everything, and it allows me to be more accurate with my EQ. But if you have the budget, these are ones I will put my stamp on. And then, as I said, on cables, I am a cable snob. You can use the cables that come with most of these microphones just fine, but I'm a Mogami kind of a guy, so I like these. They are about $50 for a 6-foot cable, and they are amazing in my opinion. I've tested them against stock cables. I have fluorescent lights and stuff all around me, and they do a great job of not letting in that strange noise that seems to come in through overhead lights and dimmer switches and stuff like that. So I love them. But let's get back on track with the medium tier microphones and stepping it up to an audio interface. This is the most underrated microphone I have used in the last several years. It is the Zoom ZDM1. You can check out my review on freepodcasttools.com or on YouTube. And I really like the sound of this mic. I also like the look of this mic. When you put the foam windscreen on, it looks like a miniature Shure SM7B on the stream. It sounds great for co-hosts, and I have one in my own kit as well. People like the sound of it, including me. And I really think they've done a good job. I bought the bundle packs. That it also comes in a bundle pack for, I believe, around $120. But I don't have anybody telling me how they like the headphones and stuff like that. So I just recommend the microphone itself. I think it's got a great sound to it for the price. Often it goes on sale for $59.99. I can't tell you how many I purchased at that time. I think I purchased at least 3 of them at that price point. So sometimes you can wait and get that for $59.99 US dollars instead of $79.99 US. It is XLR only. From that standpoint, you are not just going to be able to hook it into your computer. You're going to need an audio interface, which we're going to get into in just a minute. Next on this sub $100 list, this is the Rode PodMic. And if you don't need a pop filter on this thing, it is gorgeous. What a beautiful microphone. And it is heavy. Everything Rode makes, they make me think they're the Apple of the podcast equipment, because this microphone is gorgeous. It is a shame to put a pop filter in front of this thing or a windscreen over it, covering it, in my opinion. It is beautiful. It's heavy, solid construction. You'd want a heavy duty stand to be able to hold this thing up. It's $99 US dollars. It is pretty good sounding. It's not great. If I want this look and not a bad sounding mic at all, I would do the PodMic. I own it. It's in my kit. I pull it out. People go, "What is that?" It looks beautiful. Next, we're kind of getting up there, kind of getting close to my threshold of medium tier microphones. This is the Samson Q9U. It is both XLR, and USB. The problem I have with this is, one, it's $200 US. And then two, I don't really think it sounds that great. It's fine. It's passable, but you're not going to be blown away by the sound. And when you get to this $200 price point, unless you're someone that's like, I need the flexibility of both USB and XLR, and I don't want to download some software, then I think you could save up a little bit more and get some of the mics I'm going to recommend in the higher tier, or you could just get the PodMic or the Zoom ZDM1. It's just cost to performance is just not quite there, in my opinion. Nothing against the effort that Samson has made. I just don't think it's rock solid enough to say this is the must-have, especially at that price. Let's get into audio interfaces, which you're going to need for all of these XLR-only microphones. I bought the Evo 4 by Audient, and the sound you get from their preamps and the gain level that you get, in a word, stellar. I think I was physically sick when I had to send this to a co-host because I wanted to keep it, but I don't really have a need for a single audio interface because I use the Rodecaster Pro. But when it comes to the ease of use, the preamps, clarity, just this thing is awesome. So I can definitely recommend it at $129 US. Next is the tried and true Focusrite Scarlett. And this is the third gen that's up on the screen right now, but $120. I've got a co-host that uses this, and it sounds fantastic to me. I don't think you can go wrong with Focusrite gear, especially even at this low price point. I like it. If I ever get in the audio interface only field again, I will be using this M2 USB. This thing just looks slick with these awesome meters on here, but it sounds so good. Really, really good. They just nailed it with this. $179.99-ish price in the US, so you're going to come out a little out of the pocket a bit, but it is well worth it. I would definitely put my stamp on this device. And then lastly, people laugh when I recommend this, but the Behringer Euphoria UMC 22 USB audio interface, $49 US. People laugh at me when I recommend this, but I have sent this to a co-host, and when he plugs in his Zoom ZDM1 into this device, sounds great for the price. I'm telling you what, $59 microphone paired with a $49 interface. I mean, and he's getting some good sound out of it. I like these Midas preamps. A lot of people don't. I personally do, and I think it sounds really good. When we won our podcast award, I was using the big brother to this device. I was using the Euphoria, I believe it's the 204 HD, and it has those Midas preamps on it, and people loved it. They thought that sounded great. I was using that and a Samson Q2U, which I recommended earlier. That was the setup I had, and I had a little digital recorder dangling off the output of the device. But that is it for this middle tier, the step up where you're using a mic in conjunction with an audio interface. Now it's time to get into the big tier, as I call it. And this Rode Procaster, this is the mic I was saying earlier, that if you're going to spend $200 for the Q9U and you don't need that USB functionality, this is an XLR only microphone. The Rode Procaster sounds phenomenal. I've used it for years. It's in my kit. The only mic I replaced it with was the mic that I will talk about in just a minute, but it's $229. You can usually find them on eBay or somewhere used for $180 or so, and it is a great sounding mic. The only nitpick I would have is that on some voices it can sound sibilant. So that's the only thing to work out in post, that you would want to DS or cut that sibilant frequency. That is it. On some voices that are lower and boomier, you're not going to get that effect, but on some sibilant voices, you do get that, and it can be distracting if it's a voice that's not paired well with the microphone. So if you don't have a sibilant voice, this microphone punches well above its price point at $229 US. I think it's a phenomenal microphone. I own one. Next, on this high-end tier, you could utilize the Heil PR40. This is one of the first mics I owned. I think it was the second podcast mic I bought. It usually runs around $320, $330 US. The only problem I have with this mic is it is really prone to plosives and has a real pronounced low end. Now, some people thoroughly enjoy that, and that's fine, but just something to keep your mind on is you have to perform really good microphone technique if you were to go with the Heil PR40. Next is the microphone I'm on now, $399 US. It's the Shure SM7B. This microphone is synonymous with broadcasting, with live streaming, podcasting. You will see this microphone everywhere, even regular music studios. But I love this microphone for a lot of reasons. I don't have to do a bunch of EQ. In fact, I don't do any EQ on my voice after I'm done anymore. Whereas with the Rode Procaster and other microphones I've had to EQ this, that, and the other. On this microphone, I just run my processing, compression, and such after I'm done, and that's it. Great, great microphone. It's probably not for every single voice out there, but you would have to be the judge of that. The Shure SM7B dynamic microphone, it's XLR only. All these microphones are XLR only. Next, a classic. You see I have the black up here, and they want $500 for it. It was on sale about a month or so ago for $399. Oh, what a good price. But you could get it in beige for $450 US. The ElectroVoice RE20 is a legendary microphone. You'll see it on sports broadcasts and radio shows. See it all over the country in the United States. This is a high-end microphone, and if you're going to get something out of ElectroVoice, in my opinion, the RE20 is the only one I would get out of their microphones. I just don't care for the sound of the RE320, and then the RE27 sounds too shrill and bright for my taste, but the RE20 is a masterpiece. Love this microphone. So that does it for the high-end microphones. So let's talk about some interfaces that you could use, or mixers, so to speak. This is what I'm on. I'm on the Rodecaster Pro. I like this for a lot of reasons. It is around $600 US, but I like that you have the sound effects pads built right in, and you can have multiple banks of different sounds. You have 4 headphone outputs, each individually managed. You have a Bluetooth channel, which I bring in cell phone calls on, or you can plug your cell phone in via TRRS cable. I think it's amazing that you can do that. And then you have the USB channel, and you can bring all this together with an automatic mix minus in the settings. It is gold. It just works. It looks great on the desk. People that come to the studio say, "What is that?" I don't know how many of these I've helped sell. So this is an amazing device that you could use for podcasting, but as long as you have a need for all these features. Next, I've owned the Tascam Model 12 mixer. If I was doing a solo talking head video, not live streaming, not bringing in calls and all that stuff, a solo talking head video, or I had people in studio, because it's got a ton of ports on this thing, tons of mic inputs and inserts and all that. It is an amazing piece of hardware. It just lacked, at the time I got rid of it, it was lacking some of the flexibility with mix minus. At the time I owned it, only channels 1 and 2 were eligible for the mix minus. And I do unique things where I have a phone call, plus I have somebody or multiple people on Skype or Zoom or what have you. So I needed more flexibility, so that's why I went with the Rodecaster Pro. But their support was nice, and they were good. And the look, this faux wood grain, and just the overall look of it. People saw that on the desk. I took pictures with it, and people were like, whoa, what is that? What is that? You know, and I'm like, oh, it's the Model 12 by Tascam. It's really, really nice. So I might, in the future, if I have a bigger studio build out where I have multiple sets, I will probably repurchase that device. Next is the Zoom PodTrack P4. The only reason I don't put a bigger stamp of approval on this is because for whatever reason, they chose to have this record in 44:16. This is my backup should anything happen to my Rodecaster Pro. It's got 4 sound pad buttons, 4 microphone inputs on here, headphone jacks, 4 of them independently can be manipulated. It takes a standard size SD card, records multi-track. If they would have made this 48 kilohertz and 24-bit, it would be the perfect device. But that one decision, maybe they'll change later down the road. I don't know, but I definitely recommend it. You can buy this $50 adapter if you wanted to add Bluetooth. It would take away the TRRS port where you plug a microphone, or excuse me, where you would plug a cell phone into or a tablet or what have you. It hogs that port as well if you get the Bluetooth adapter. Probably the only 2 things I don't like is the recording format choice, and then if you buy this Bluetooth adapter, it takes up that TRRS port as well. Those will be the 2 flaws with the device, in my opinion, but I can't recommend it enough for podcasting, portability, all that. It's a great, great value to price device. And lastly, the PodTrack P8. This is another one. If I were going to get this, I would just save up another $100 and get the Rodecaster Pro. But there's no shame in owning this device. It's a really nice device. That outer shell is really cheap, in my opinion. And then they made that same error where if you use the Bluetooth, it hogs up the TRRS port, in my opinion. And then the recording 44:1 16-bit. That's a mistake to me. That's something hopefully they can change with a firmware upgrade, I hope, but we'll see. But overall, on the high end, I would say the Rodecaster Pro, hands down, would be, if money is no object to you, just grab the Rodecaster Pro. What I do is I turn off the master compressor and the compressor on my channel because I do not like how hard they compress some of the files. Outside of that, Rodecaster Pro is almost a flawless device. Well, what did you think? You could chime in the comments down below. These are all items I have firsthand knowledge of or own or have bought for co-hosts. I never recommend condenser microphones for podcasters. Most beginning podcasters are recording in an area that is not conducive to have a condenser microphone. These dynamic microphones reject a lot of ambient noise in your environment. So that's just my opinion. You can make whatever purchase decision you prefer, but I get asked all the time, so I wanted to have a video that I could point people to. But that's going to do it for Step 8 in the 16-part series. Stay tuned for Step 9. Thank you.